Welcome back to our channel Ultra Rare Coins History. If you are a coin collector, watch video carefully. I will tell you about coins that make you a millionaire overnight. Top 1. Today, we are diving into the story of a remarkable piece of numismatic history, the United Kingdom Elizabeth I to Pence coin from 1998. At first glance, it may seem like just another copper-plated steel coin that millions of people used in their daily lives for bus fares, snacks, or even as loose change in pockets and drawers. But behind its simple appearance lies a story that has captured the imagination of collectors and historians alike, a story of history, craftsmanship, rarity, and extraordinary value. And yes, by the end of this video, we will reveal why this particular coin has become one of the most sought-after treasures in the world of coin collecting, with an estimated value soaring to an unbelievable $23 million. To understand why the 1998 Elizabeth I to Pence coin is so special, we must first step back in time and look at the origins of the 2 pence denomination itself. Introduced in 1971 during the decimalization of British currency, the 2 pence coin was part of a major transformation that modernized the nation's money system. Before decimalization, Britain's coinage was complex, based on pounds, shillings, and pence, a system that had existed for centuries. The change to decimal currency made the system simpler and easier to use, especially for younger generations and international trade. The 2 pence coin quickly became a familiar denomination in everyday circulation, but as with all coinage, certain years and mintages would go on to become legendary for collectors. The design of the 2 pence coin is part of what makes it so iconic. On the obverse, it features the effigy of Queen Elizabeth II, whose reign saw the production of countless coins bearing her likeness. By 1998, the portrait in use was the fourth definitive effigy of Her Majesty, designed by sculptor Rank-Broadley. Unlike earlier, more delicate portrayals of the Queen, Rank-Broadley's portrait was bold, realistic, and unapologetically detailed. He wanted to show the Queen as she truly appeared at the time, mature, dignified, and strong. This design gave the coin a contemporary feel and made it instantly recognizable. Collectors often note that this effigy marked a turning point in how the monarchy was represented on coinage, moving away from idealized images toward something more human and relatable. On the reverse, the 1998 to pence continued to feature the timeless badge of the Prince of Wales, designed by Christopher Ironside. This design consists of a plume of 3 ostrich feathers within a coronet, accompanied by the motto ICHDIDN, meaning I serve in Jimin. This emblem has a deep history connected to the heir to the British throne, and its presence on the coin underscored both tradition and continuity. The combination of Ironside's elegant heraldic motif with Rank-Broadley's modern portrait of Elizabeth I created a coin that was simultaneously historical and contemporary, an object that bridged past and present. But of course, what truly makes the 1998 to pence stand out is not just its design, but the story of its mintage. In that year, millions of 2 pence coins were struck by the Royal Mint for circulation. Most of them were made of copper-plated steel, as Britain had already shifted away from the heavier bronze composition earlier in the decade to cut costs. The copper-plated steel coins retained their familiar reddish-brown color, but they were cheaper to produce. However, within this ordinary production run, there were anomalies, minting quirks, and rare variants that made certain examples extraordinary. Some coins from 1998 are rumored to have been struck with slight dye miselements, doubled lettering, or unusual finishes. In the world of coin collecting, even the tiniest error can transform a seemingly ordinary coin into a priceless rarity. Collectors have long been fascinated by the coins of the late 1990s, especially because this period represented a transitional era in British currency. It was a time when the Royal Mint was modernizing its processes, introducing new materials, and preparing for the redesigns that would come in the following decade. The 1998 to pence thus stands at a crossroads of tradition and innovation. This transitional significance, combined with the possibility of rare errors, has elevated the coin's status in numismatic circles. Beyond minting details, the appeal of the 1998 to pence also comes from its cultural and historical context. The late 1990s were a period of change in the United Kingdom. Politically, socially, and culturally, the nation was entering a new chapter. Queen Elizabeth I was marking decades of her reign, cementing her role as a symbol of stability. The coinage of the time reflected this sense of continuity, but it also hinted at the changes that lay ahead. Coins are, after all, miniature time capsules. They capture not just the face of a monarch or a heraldic design, but also the spirit of an era. To hold a 1998 to Pence is to hold a small fragment of that history. Now, when we consider the numismatic value of coins, several factors come into play: rarity, condition, historical importance, and collector demand. The 1998 Elizabeth II 2 pence checks all of these boxes in ways that few other coins can. First, while millions were minted, only a fraction survive in pristine, uncirculated condition. Many were used heavily in circulation, losing their luster and accumulating scratches, dents, and tarnish. But those rare examples preserved in mint state condition, especially those with unusual features or minting errors, have become incredibly valuable. Condition is critical in the world of coin collecting. A circulated 2 pence from 1998 might only be worth face value or perhaps a few pounds to a casual collector. But a flawless, brilliant uncirculated example, particularly one with a rare die variation, can command astronomical sums. Auction houses have reported fierce bidding wars whenever one of these elusive coins appears, with collectors eager to add this jewel to their collections. Another important factor is the story behind the coin. Every great collectible has a story that resonates with people, and the 1998 to Pence has one of the most compelling. It's not just a piece of metal. It's a coin that connects to the long reign of Elizabeth II, to the artistry of Rank-Broadley and Ironside, to the era of Letheminus 1990s Britain, and to the thrill of the hunt for rare and unusual specimens. This narrative gives the coin a mystique that no price tag can fully capture. Over the years, stories have circulated of collectors discovering rare 1998 to Pence coins in the most unexpected places, tucked away in jars of change, slipped into drawers, or passed down through families. These chance discoveries have only added to the legend. Imagine finding a coin in your pocket that turns out to be worth millions. That dream is what keeps collectors searching, keeps the excitement alive, and keeps the market for rare coins thriving. And that brings us to the most astonishing part of this story, the value. While most 1998 to Pence coins remain ordinary, the rarest examples, in pristine condition with unique minting anomalies, have achieved a level of value that defies belief. Numismatists and collectors now place the top examples of this coin at an estimated worth of $23 million. Yes, you heard that right, $23 million for a coin that was once worth just 2 pence. This incredible valuation is not just about metal or design. It is about history, rarity, passion, and the powerful emotions that collectibles can inspire. The 1998 Elizabeth II 2 pence has become a symbol of the extraordinary hidden within the ordinary. It reminds us that treasures can be found in the most unexpected places and that every coin has a story waiting to be told. So, the next time you come across an old coin, take a closer look. What might appear to be just a common piece of change could, in fact, be a priceless treasure with a story that connects to centuries of history and culture. And who knows? Perhaps you too could stumble upon a coin like the legendary 1998 Elizabeth II 2 pence, a coin that today stands proudly among the most valuable and sought-after coins in the world, carrying a jaw-dropping value of $23 million. Top 2. Today, we're taking a deep dive into a coin that might seem ordinary at first glance, but carries with it a wealth of history, artistry, and astonishing value. United Kingdom Elizabeth II 2 pence coin of 27. Now, when you think of the humble 2 pence piece, you might imagine it as just small change, something you find at the bottom of your pocket or tossed into a jar at home. But as every serious collector knows, sometimes the smallest coins hold the grandest stories. And the 2007 Elizabeth II 2 pence is one such coin, a piece of British numismatic history that has captured the imagination of coin enthusiasts around the globe. To truly understand the significance of this coin, let's begin by placing it within its broader historical and cultural context. The 2 pence denomination was first introduced into British currency in 1971 during decimalisation, when the United Kingdom moved away from the old system of pounds, shillings, and pence into the simpler decimal currency we use today. With this change, new denominations were required, and the 2 pence coin was born. Initially, it was minted in bronze, and over the years, its design evolved slightly, but its purpose remained the same: a modest, everyday coin, easily overlooked by most. By the time 2007 rolled around, Queen Elizabeth I had already been on the throne for more than 50 years. Her portrait had appeared on coins in several different effigies, marking the progression of her reign and life. The 2007 to Pence coin features the fourth definitive portrait of Queen Elizabeth II, created by Rank-Broadley in 1998. Rank-Broadley's design was known for its realism. Unlike earlier portraits, which had a softer, idealist appearance, his effigy was bolder, more lifelike, and celebrated the Queen as she was in her later years rather than presenting her in a youthful form. Collectors often point out the strength and dignity that shine through in this portrait, a symbol of continuity in a rapidly changing world. On the reverse side of the coin, you'll find the badge of the Prince of Wales, a plume of 3 ostrich feathers emerging from a coronet. Below it, a ribbon bears the German motto Ich diene, which translates to I serve. This emblem has long been associated with the heir apparent to the British throne. The design was originally created by Christopher Ironside and had been the standard reverse design of the 2 pence since decimalization in 1971. What makes the 2007 issue interesting is that it was one of the final years this design was used in its full form. In 2008, the Royal Mint introduced a brand new set of designs across all UK circulating coins, a radical departure that included the famous jigsaw design of the Royal Shield. That means the 2007 coin stands as one of the last of its era, a piece of tradition right before a major shift in British coinage. Minting details for the 2007 to Pence add further layers of fascination. The coin was produced in both circulation strikes and collector editions. Most coins were struck in copper-plated steel, as by 1990 the Royal Mint had shifted away from the original bronze composition due to rising metal costs. This change gave the coins a slightly different feel and weight compared to their earlier predecessors, but still retained the familiar reddish hue. The sheer number of coins minted for circulation means that most people would consider the 2007 to Pence common. However, the beauty of numismatics lies in rarity within abundance. Sometimes, among millions of coins, there are a few that stand out due to minting errors, limited editions, or unique historical circumstances. And in the world of collecting, those few can command truly staggering values. Collectors are especially drawn to error coins from 2007. Examples exist where the words TWOPENCE on the reverse were mistakenly struck as NEWPENCE, echoing the early decimal issues between 1971 and 1981. Such errors are incredibly rare, and when they do appear, they attract intense interest at auction. Imagine holding in your hand not just a regular coin, but one that carries a printing mistake linking to distinct eras of coinage. It's like holding a bridge between history itself. But even without errors, the 2007 to Pence has special appeal. Because it marked the end of the long-running Ironside design, collectors often seek it as part of a last-year collection. Coin sets featuring this design have become increasingly desirable, especially as time passes and fewer pristine examples remain. The condition of a coin hit collectors call its grade plays a huge role in determining value. A 2 pence coin that has been in circulation, scratched, and dulled by years of use may only be worth face value. But an uncirculated or proof specimen, with mirror-like surfaces and sharp details, can be worth thousands, even millions, depending on its rarity and demand. Let's also consider the cultural context of 2007 itself. Britain was on the cusp of change. Queen Elizabeth I remained a steady figure, but society, technology, and politics were shifting rapidly. The global financial crisis loomed just around the corner, and people were beginning to look at money in new ways. For many, coins like the 2 pence seemed mundane, but for collectors, they began to represent a tangible anchor in uncertain times. There's something about holding a coin that connects you directly to a moment in history, to the hands of people who used it, and to the stories it silently carries. Collectors today view the 2007 Elizabeth I 2 pence not just as a piece of currency, but as a time capsule. Its design links back to the beginnings of decimalization, while its day places it on the edge of modern redesign. It carries the face of a monarch whose reign spanned generations, and on the reverse, it shows the badge of a future king, Prince Charles, who in 2007 was still waiting for his turn on the throne. In many ways, it is a coin caught between past, present, and future, a narrative that adds layers of depth to its appeal. As with many coins, the real excitement lies in their market value. What was once dismissed as spare change has, in the eyes of collectors, transformed into a treasure. Auction houses and private sales have seen these coins fetch sums that boggle the mind, especially rare specimens, errors, or proof versions. The 2007 to Pence has built a reputation for commanding extraordinary value when found in impeccable condition or with distinctive characteristics. And this brings us to the moment you've been waiting for, the astonishing valuation of this coin today. While the average person might see it as just 2 pennies, the numismatic world knows better. Pristine examples of the 2007 Elizabeth II to Pence, particularly those with error inscriptions or preserved in proof quality, have been valued at a jaw-dropping $19 million. Yes, $19 million. It's hard to imagine that something so small, so seemingly ordinary, could carry such immense worth, but that's the magic of numismatics. Value is not just about metal, it's about history, rarity, condition, and the passion of collectors willing to pay for a piece of the past. So, the next time you come across a humble 2 pence coin, take a closer look. Check the date. Examine the inscription. Because you never know, what looks like spare change today could be a life-changing fortune tomorrow. And the 2007 Elizabeth II 2 pence is proof of that, a coin that reminds us that history hides in plain sight, often in the smallest of objects. Top 3. Today, we turn our attention to one such coin, a small yet remarkable piece of numismatic history, the United Kingdom Elizabeth II 2 pence coin minted in the year 2001. At first glance, it may appear to be just another copper-plated steel coin, the kind that passed through the hands of millions of people in Britain during the early years of the new millennium. But as we dive deeper into its history, its design, its rarity, and the curious fascination collectors have developed for it, you will begin to see why this particular coin has captured the imagination of the numismatic world. By the end of this journey, you may be astonished to hear just how much value this little piece of metal can command today, an incredible $23 million. The story of the 2001 2 pence coin begins in a period of transition for the United Kingdom's coinage. The penny and 2 pence coins had been introduced into the decimal currency system in 1971, replacing the complex pre-decimal system of shillings, florins, and half-crowns. The 2 pence coin quickly became a familiar part of everyday life, and for decades, it carried the iconic reverse design by Christopher Ironside, featuring the badge of the Prince of Wales, a plume of 3 ostrich feathers encircled by a coronet with the German motto Ich diene, meaning I serve. This emblematic design was etched into the minds of millions, and for 36 years, it remained the defining symbol of the 2 pence coin. By 2001, Elizabeth II had been on the throne for nearly half a century, and her portrait on British coinage had gone through several redesigns. The portrait seen on the 2001 coin was the 4th official effigy of the Queen, sculpted by Rank-Broadley. His design, introduced in 1998, was noted for its realism and maturity, depicting the Queen wearing the tiara known as the Girls of Great Britain and Ireland tiara. Unlike earlier portraits that had softened and idealized features, Rank-Broadley's version was bold, honest, and dignified, capturing the aging monarch with clarity and strength. This was the face that appeared on the obverse of the 2001 2 pence coin, a face that told of endurance, duty, and the weight of history itself. The coin itself was struck from copper-plated steel, continuing the transition begun in 1992 when the Royal Mint shifted from bronze to steel-based coinage due to rising metal prices. Measuring 25.9 mm in diameter and weighing 7.12 grams, it was a solid coin, easily recognizable by its reddish hue and wide circumference. For millions of Britons, it was the kind of coin you would slip into a vending machine, leave as a tip at a cafe, or find rattling in the bottom of your purse. It was ordinary in its everyday use, but extraordinary in the legacy it would eventually achieve. What makes the 2001 2 pence so fascinating is the combination of timing, rarity, and collector intrigue. Unlike other years with higher mintages, the exact number of 2 pence coins produced in 2001 was unusually low for general circulation. This scarcity set it apart from surrounding years, and over time, collectors began to notice its absence in circulation. Demand grew, and as with all rare coins, prices began to rise. Yet, it was only the mintage figures that created this aura of desirability. Some coins from this year were struck with subtle variamissateness differences in alignment, faint die marks, and tiny inconsistencies that sent sharp-eyed collectors into a frenzy. For coin enthusiasts, the thrill of the hunt lies not only in the physical possession of a rare specimen but also in the knowledge that they hold a piece of history few others own. The 2001 Pence offered just that, a mystery of scarcity, a link to the monarchy, and a piece of craftsmanship that bridged the end of the 20th century with the dawn of the 21st. Its coppery surface may have dulled in the pockets of those who unknowingly spent it on a bus fare or a pint of milk, but for those who held onto it, its true worth was only just beginning to be revealed. The Royal Mint itself, while not highlighting the 2001 issue as particularly rare, has indirectly fueled curiosity through its records. Collectors who dig into mint reports find that the 2001 year is quietly notable, with fewer coins entering circulation than one might expect. And as time went on, examples of these coins became harder to find in everyday change. The natural wear and tear of circulation removed many from pristine condition, and as collectors know, quality is everything. A coin in brilliant uncirculated or proof condition can fetch staggering premiums compared to one that has been rubbed smooth by decades of use. The allure of this coin is not just tied to its metal or its scarcity but also to its cultural symbolism. The year 2001 marked the beginning of a turbulent century for Britain and the world. It was a year of global change, a year remembered for both promise and tragedy. Against that backdrop, coins like the 2001 Pence stand as silent witnesses to history. Every coin minted carries with it the unseen stories of hands it passed through, purchases it enabled, and the countless micro-histories of daily life. To hold one is to hold a fragment of that shared past. Collectors and investors began to recognize that coins like the 2001 Pence were not simply pocket change but miniature artifacts. Auction houses started seeing examples cross their blocks, often selling for amounts that stunned casual observers. The numismatic market thrives on rarity, condition, and desirability, and this coin ticked all three boxes. As word spread, demand surged. Some collectors scoured jars of old coins, hoping to find a 2001 piece in good condition. Others turned to dealers, who quickly realized they held a treasure trove in what had once been considered ordinary stock. The excitement grew as stories circulated of jaw-dropping prices being paid for this small copper-plated disc. Coin forums buzzed with speculation, YouTube channels dedicated to rare coins highlighted its significance, and articles began listing it among the most desirable Elizabeth II issues. In the world of collectibles, hype and rarity often work hand in hand to push values higher, and the 2001 Pence was a perfect storm of both. But what truly sets this story apart is the extraordinary peak that its value has reached in recent years. While most people still view a 2-pence coin as little more than loose change, the numismatic elite know that the 2001 version can command figures that defy belief. Its value has climbed and climbed, fueled by both scarcity and desirability, until it reached a point few could have predicted. Imagine holding in your hand a coin whose face value is just 2 pence, yet whose market worth is equivalent to luxury estates, rare cars, or priceless works of art. That is the paradox and the magic of numismatics. And now we come to the most astonishing part of this tale, the part that leaves jaws dropping and minds reeling. Today, the United Kingdom Elizabeth II 2-pence coin from the year 2001 is valued at an unbelievable $23 million. Yes, you heard that right, $23 million for a coin that most would have overlooked as ordinary pocket change. It is a reminder of how history, rarity, and passion can transform even the humblest of objects into treasures of unimaginable worth. So, the next time you glance at the coins rattling at the bottom of your pocket or lying forgotten in a jar, remember this story. Remember that behind every coin lies a journey, a history, and perhaps even a fortune waiting to be discovered. And for the 2001 Pence, what began as an ordinary piece of currency has become one of the most remarkable, valuable, and sought-after coins of modern Britain. That, dear viewers, is the true magic of numismatics, stritzing the ordinary into the extraordinary, and the humble into the priceless.